Hi, everybody. This is Gad Saad. A few minutes ago, I posted the following comments, which I'd like to read for you in case you don't follow me on social media, and then I'll add some additional points and then open it up for discussion in the comment section. So here we go. During our morning walk, my wife asked me what I thought might be the next great frontier of innovation. I thought about it for a minute or two and replied that the speed of travel might be perhaps the next great source of innovation. If you think about computing, I'm old enough to remember when punch cards were used as part of programming. Now our cell phones have more computing power than the military computers had a few decades ago, and yet travel speed has largely remained constant, short of the Concorde. Imagine if the lead up to the actual travel were decreased by a factor of 3 and the speed of travel were also decreased by a factor of 3. You'd be able to get to Australia from Montreal in 3 hours instead of 27 plus hours. And then I open it up by asking, what do you think is the next disrupting innovation? Am I on the right track? Then I thought about it some more. I read a few of the comments on my social media, and someone suggested maybe biotech and in medicine. And so I thought, maybe individualized medicine with nano approaches would be certainly a next great frontier. By the way, in my own academic work, both in terms of my teaching and in some of the research I've done, I've tackled innovation. So, for example, when I have often taught consumer behavior, I would have a section discussing diffusion of innovations. So this is Rogers' theory. For example, looking at the 5 categories of consumers in terms of how early they adopt a new innovation, starting from the innovators and then the early adopters and then the early majority, the late majority, and then the laggards. Also, innovations themselves could be classified based on how disruptive, if you'd like, they are to consumer behavior. So you can have a continuous innovation, a dynamically continuous innovation, or a discontinuous innovation. There are other terms and classifications and taxonomies you can use, but the general idea is that people vary in terms of their proclivity to adopt new products or new ideas, and also innovations themselves vary in terms of how disruptive they are. And in my research, I've also tackled innovation using birth order as a predictive variable. And so some of you might be familiar with my work where I looked at how birth order affects the likelihood of consumers being conforming or being product innovators. And the theory that I applied is Frank Soloway's theory, where he looked at how birth order has an effect on the big 5, specifically of relevance to this discussion on how it affects openness to new ideas. And then he applies his framework to radically discontinuous scientific innovations in his book Born to Rebel, which I highly recommend. And so in my own career as a professor, both in the classroom and as an academic, I've dealt in one way or another with innovations. But here it was just based on a conversation I was having with my wife, trying to think about what will be the next big breakthrough that will alter the way we navigate through life. And it seems to me that travel is really lagging. I mean, not much has happened with the travel industry in terms of the velocity at which we travel from point A to point B, in 30, 40, 50 years, right? So I wonder if that might be the next big breakthrough. Of course, nothing has been as impactful as just computing in general, right? The fact that we're able to now communicate with everyone around the world in 1 second. We're all connected via social media. We can purchase everything that we need without leaving our home. And so, of course, it's no surprise that some of the biggest companies are companies that operate within the online medium. But again, I think that travel has to be the one that is truly lagging at this point in our fast-paced global world. What do you think? What do you think are some of the great innovations that will alter the way we live our lives? In any case, if you haven't yet gotten your copy of this global vaccine, please order the Parasitic Mind. The holiday season is upon us. No better way to tell those that you love that you actually love them than to give them the gift of reason. Thank you for all of your support. Hope that you have a great December, and may we get out of this lockdown and this pandemic sooner rather than later. Cheers, everybody.